Hello and welcome to The Horror of It All, the show where we discuss and celebrate horror in all media. This is part 2 of our special edition Monster-Mania Memories. For Cenobites who write books, of course there's Barbie Wilde, who was there, female Cenobite, and in Hellbound. You educated me prior to the convention that she did not play the female Cenobite in Hellraiser, but did in Hellbound. And what a delight she was. She was the first celebrity, I believe, one of the first to accept my friend request on Facebook afterwards, which was very nice. She didn't have her books for sale, but I will be ordering them. I'm intrigued. I do have the Hellbound Hearts anthology that she has a story in about her character. But again, she was a delight. She's American, I believe. I mean, she certainly didn't have a British accent. And it was just a really good time. And I can't say enough about Simon Bamford, Butterball. As a parent, nothing impresses me more than when someone is kind to my children and pays special attention to them and makes them feel special. And he did that first at the VIP party on the Friday night and was entertaining us and, smearing my son's face with black frosting from the pinhead.
From the eye of Pinhead.
From the eye of Pinhead in cake form. And that continued. That continued on Saturday. That continued to Sunday. He is a big enthusiast and very talented at magic tricks, sleight of hand, and was willing to, hopefully the people behind us in the autograph lines weren't too irritated that he was taking time to actually do magic tricks to show my kids, and then actually had to, I don't know if it was to plan or gather materials or prepared, and to have us, have my kids see another one on Sunday, which they did. So I just was completely just blown away by that experience. And if there are, this year is the 25th anniversary of Hellraiser, so what does that mean? Next year is the 25th anniversary of Hellbound, if they really want to,
I suppose, if they really want
run with this.
Yes,
I would be thrilled to see all of these people again. Other celebrity encounters that were particularly interesting.
I mean, everyone was wonderful. I had a good experience with Carl Weathers in his first United States convention.
His first U.S. convention,
yes,
really.
Yes.
I did not meet Carl again due to money, and you have been a fan of the Rocky films since you were a kid, right?
Yeah, Rocky was the film bonding experience between myself and my father. My mother would take us to the Disney films when I was young, and et cetera, but my father would take us to the Rocky films. And so, I expressed that gratitude to him. He wrote my favorite line on my picture, and, he was the other VIP guest, and he had his own room, and, I was afraid going in that he would be charging an exorbitant amount of money, but he wasn't. It was very fair, and he was very gracious, very kind, and he had an extremely funny Q&A session.
I was trying to get to the Q&A room early for the next panel, which I guess was the Walking Dead, and I caught maybe the last 10 or so minutes of Carl Weathers' Q&A session, and it really made me wish I had seen and heard the whole thing. Just the amount of thought and detail he put into answering what an Apollo Creed sandwich should be comprised of, and the detail. Wow. And one of the most well-spoken, celebrities I've ever heard in any Q&A of any kind. Very articulate, definitely a man of words.
Yes.
And that always impresses me.
Also a very well-spoken guest was Jeffrey DeMunn from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Definitely one of the most the most intelligent guests I've ever met. Just a joy to talk to.
My boys had an interesting encounter that they'll tell you about a little bit later in the show with two of the guests from Walking Dead, that I will let them share. But it was certainly a joy to meet them. Talking about celebrity encounters and experiences from Monster-Mania 22, I talked a lot earlier about how great the Cenobites were. Of course, the actors who played the Cenobites, but I would be remiss if I did not mention, the two lead actors from Nightbreed, Craig Sheffer and Ann Bobby, were a whole lot of fun and good to talk to. And it was great speaking particularly with Ann Bobby, who is very passionate about animal rescue, taking care of mostly dogs and cats, however, horses and other animals as well. I picked up her book, Best Friend for Life. Get a zoom on that. I had her inscribe this to my wife, who is a dog lover, but it's an introduction by Neil Gaiman, and we, anyway, talked at length about experiences with animals. I really thought that was intriguing, going back to the, jumping back for a moment to the Nightbreed panel, when she talked about how the scene, looking back on her scene in Nightbreed, where she first encounters the little girl, Babette, in when she's in animal form, and the way she interacts with her as she's a hurt animal, and is the exact same way she's now interacting with real animals in distress, and the same way she, uses her body language to approach them. I thought that was really, really interesting. So, of course, celebrity autographs are not the only thing that we spend money on at conventions. There's also lots and lots of cool stuff to make us part with our hard-earned dollars in the vendor's room. Michael, what were some of your purchases that you're particularly happy about?
I always go into a show telling myself I'm not going to spend a lot of money in the vendor room, and it never works out that way. I am a t-shirt junkie, from many different vendors, one of which is my Hellraiser shirt here, from a wonderful, wonderful vendor named Jill, who owns Lix Online. That's Lix Online. T-shirt vendor. She also does shoes, women's clothing, dresses, all manner of things. She's one of my favorites. I buy something from her at every convention I go to, and highly recommended.
I will start seeking her out.
Yes.
Will she be at our next convention?
She will be at our she will be at our next convention.
Very good. Well, my first stop at really every Monster-Mania convention I go to is at the Fright Rags booth. That started at my first Monster-Mania, and this one was no exception. Of course, Christy Jett is one of the nicest people there is to know.
Absolutely.
And it's the first Monster-Mania I went to turned out to be the first one she was at. She wasn't working for Fright Rags yet, but was just kind of hanging around the booth and helping out a lot with their sales. And then, and she's a name that is now very well known in the horror community. She's been published in Horror Hound and Fangoria, and is instrumental in some really important projects that we'll talk about a little bit more later. But anyway, I wanted to have a shirt to, a shirt to wear to the Cabal cut of Nightbreed that was in the theme. This is one of Fright Rag's older designs. Their more recent designs use a lot more variety of color, but I really like this, partly for its simplicity, and so I picked this up. I did get one other shirt this time. There have been conventions where I always come away with a lot from there. One of the best best businesses you could possibly deal with. In person is great, but online you get remarkable, very caring customer service as well. I cannot, heap enough love on Fright Rags. People who want to find out more about Fright Rags can go to www.fright-rags.com and find out about their wares. Probably my favorite, not related to an autograph, but purchased from this convention was this really nice piece of artwork. Get a zoom on this. Very, very happy, and got this for a very good price. This poster, as anyone who's known me for 20 minutes or more knows, I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Sir Christopher Lee. He's my favorite living actor, and to have this beautiful, lovingly done and colored collage of really most of the really well-known and memorable roles that he has played in film. I was really delighted to find this. The artist is Joel Robinson, who can be found online at
artpusher.net.
Okay, artpusher.net. Wow. This is art that is absolutely worth pushing. It has, it's in Horror Hound, I guess, fairly often?
Yes. Joel works with Horror Hound. He usually does work for them. He's at every one of their conventions, but he does travel the convention circuit.
I'm certainly glad that he does, because I was very happy to find that. And again, for a very reasonable price, and he's happy to sign it.
And Joel is a wonderful, wonderful man. He's always in an extremely good mood. He's happy to see you, whether he knows you or not. He's a fan just like we all are. He's a great guy.
And another purchase that I would hopefully have the opportunity to have autographed in the future. Pretty much every serious horror fan now, is that fair to say?
I'd say so.
Has heard of Behind the Mask, the rise of Leslie Vernon, arguably the most cerebral, intelligent, as well as very just witty and a whole lot of fun slasher films that's ever been made. Really, I feel like deconstructs the genre is a really overused term, but that's kind of exactly what it does, and yet remains, a very engaging, slasher film as well. So DeCant Figures and Collectibles made this really cool figure. Now this is going to upset anyone watching who's an action figure collector. I am usually an open the package and display it out of the package sort of guy. That I will not do with this. First of all, because you can see him with his accessories very nicely in the package, but also I'm hoping for the opportunity to meet Nathan Basil again. I did have the pleasure of meeting him at 2 conventions, one Monster-Mania and one Rock and Shock. Nathan, of course, played Leslie Vernon in the film, and it's a very worthwhile cause for horror fans to support anything to do with this, because some of our viewers have probably heard of the movement for the very deserved sequel, Before the Mask.
Yes.
Do you want to speak about that at all?
Yeah, I mean, Before the Mask is the prequel to Behind the Mask. This is the continuation of the Leslie Vernon story, which is funny because it is a prequel. But yeah, they've been trying to get this movie funded, and it's all fan funded. So, they've tried various outlets, and they're not giving up, and they won't give up. But they also need your support. So if you are a fan and want to see this movie made, and no better way of supporting than with your dollars.
Absolutely. And the aforementioned Christy Jett of Fright Rags is one of the major people, perhaps the major person, toward getting this this organized and going. So if that movie does get made, you know, she'll probably be one of the biggest special thanks. She certainly will deserve it.
Absolutely.
More than any other individual. Okay, well, I would like to, at this point, speak with a couple of the other people who attended Monster-Mania 22 with me. So very shortly we will be joined by a couple other members of the Rigo family and a couple other members of the Monster-Mania family. Joining us now on The Horror of It All is my son Jacob. Jacob, you attended Monster-Mania 22 with me.
Yes.
And did you have a good time?
Definitely.
Excellent. What for you was the most exciting thing going to that convention when you were thinking about going? Who were you most looking forward to meet?
Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl in The Walking Dead.
Norman Reedus, Daryl from The Walking Dead, very popular. Also, of course, extremely popular even before The Walking Dead for The Boondock Saints and its sequel. So, you're a fan of The Walking Dead TV show?
Yes.
And is Daryl your favorite character on the show?
Yes, definitely.
What is it about Daryl that you like so much?
I don't know. He's just really awesome to me.
Okay. Something about wearing a necklace made of zombie ears and...
Yeah, and having squirrels attached to him.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And having an awesome... Oh, I forgot the name of the gun.
The crossbow that he has?
Yes, crossbow.
Right. Okay, so I know you had been saving your allowance for some time before the convention so that you could buy something really cool or really awesome at Monster-Mania. What did you get this time?
I got a gas mask.
A gas mask. Let's see. Oh, very nice. Could you model that for the camera?
Sure.
Remember, you're going to have to talk a little bit louder when it's on.
Yes, sir.
I believe that, you know, hip, trendy people told us that that was a steampunk style gas mask.
Yes, that is what it is.
That was purchased, I believe, from Tara Graphics.
Yes.
A very cool organization, that company that makes neat things like that. They had quite a few gas masks to pick from in different styles and quite a few other things as well. Tara Graphics, another company that you can look for online. And, you know, I know this wasn't just an impulse buy for you. You've actually been saying for some time now, like a year or more, that you'd really like to have a gas mask. What's your reason, Jacob, for wanting to own a gas mask?
Well, you never know when the Nazis are going to attack.
You never know when the Nazis are going to attack. Well,
With deadly chemicals.
with deadly chemicals. Consider yourselves warned. All right, Jacob, thank you very much.
You're
and
welcome.
stay safe from those toxic Nazi gases.
I will.
Now in the black fuzzy chair we have my son Alex.
Hello.
Alex has attended as many Monster-Mania conventions as I have, and why don't you tell us, Alex, what was particularly fun or memorable or interesting about Monster-Mania 22?
Well, first of all, my brother and I were going in the elevator, and we were waiting for it to come, and I noticed Stephen Yeun
Stephen Yeun from The Walking
from
Dead.
The Walking Dead.
Glenn.
Glenn from The Walking Dead, and there was someone with him. At that point, I didn't know who it was. But we were waiting, and then Stephen eventually said, "Elevators, right?" And so we were talking to him, and that was awesome. Then in the elevator, we were with him, and we talked like that too. And
Was
then
it one of those long elevator rides because it was stopping at every floor?
And later, when he gave us his autograph, he put elevators in the autograph after it.
Which will
And then I
make
noticed that the
sense only
person
to
with
us.
him was actually Emma Bell when we went into the Walking Dead room. At first, I just thought it was some lady, but I realized it was Emma Bell from Hatchet 2, Frozen, and first few episodes of Walking Dead.
You even mentioned her cameo in Hatchet 2. Very good. And I believe you joked with her at the autograph table that at least it wasn't a chairlift that you were stuck in.
Oh yes.
As opposed to an elevator.
I did. I forgot that actually.
Hilarity ensued.
And Simon Bamford was really nice to me.
Simon Bamford, I was talking about him earlier.
Oh, really?
In,
that's nice.
The first part of this program.
At the VIP party, he was really nice to me. We talked. He gave me a lot of the cake Pinhead's eyeball.
Okay.
And smeared black frosting on my face,
Okay.
which wasn't even weird to me at all. It's
Monster-Mania.
Monster-Mania.
And what about the magic tricks?
He had really, really awesome magic tricks. First, he used 2 silks to pull the lady's bra out.
Excuse me? Should we be cutting here?
No.
Okay, so this was an age-appropriate,
It's Monster-Mania, it doesn't matter.
it's Monster-Mania.
And
Those
then
Brits, they're so cheeky.
he had a card trick and a few other tricks that he had to prepare for on Sunday, and that was pretty awesome that he prepared them for us and waited. He had to prepare those, so...
All kidding aside,
nice.
it was really awesome how he treated you guys.
It was really nice meeting him.
And,
And
of course, on the last day, or it was before
It
that,
was
we always
we
visit
always visit
Amok Time
Time
Toys.
Usually I get a Predator from the Predator and Alien vs. Predator series.
And
but
the
he
owner
didn't
of Amok
have any.
Time,
Yes,
Paul, he was apologized to you for not having any Predators
he said
this
he was
time.
sorry. And he's usually really nice to me. He gives me deals, like really good deals. And so this time I got this mummy, and well, yeah,
We're big fans of the
very nice.
Universal Monsters, and
so
you know, I had commented about it on my Facebook page, but great businesses really do come from great people, and Paul from Amok Time Toys is one of the nicest people you could meet, and for us, truly, it's not Monster-Mania without chatting with him, catching up with him, and certainly getting some really cool stuff from him.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
Go right ahead. Well, Alex, I'm glad you had such a great time at the convention. Was there anything else that happened, or?
well, I think I forgot to mention there was this really weird thing happened.
A really weird thing happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a horror convention, so.
This weirdo, strange guy,
Yeah.
came up to me, and he looked at me. I don't remember anything else.
Was he in a costume, or?
No.
No? When you say you
He was
don't.
really pale.
Really pale. Well, you see quite a few people at these conventions that don't look like they get out very much, but you say you don't really remember afterwards? What do you mean?
Blacked out.
You blacked out. You know, you did seem kind of. Was this like getting towards Saturday evening? You did seem kind of different after that. You were pretty tired. You almost seemed kind of drained.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought maybe you were just getting like a.
I'm not that hungry anymore.
You really haven't had much appetite lately, and I noticed you've been sleeping a lot. Like you've been sleeping a lot during the day.
Yeah, just tired.
And
I'm really thirsty.
Thirsty?
Really
well,
thirsty.
okay. When we're done shooting, we can get you something to drink. Anyway, why don't you bid good evening to our fans, and we'll call it a wrap.
Okay. Good evening. What?
Well, while we could certainly continue talking about Monster-Mania 22 for much more time. This will conclude our retrospective of Monster-Mania memories for this convention and for this episode of The Horror of It All. We will be back next time with discussion and reviews of horror in all media. Thank you for joining us.